This is a 2000 Buick Century. It was blowing the, it's supposed to be a 40 amp fuse, but it's a 50. It's in here now. Blowing the 40 amp crank fuse. Whenever it took a notion to do it, it would blow the fuse and not start. And that circuit, pretty much the computer handles that. It closes a crank relay down here where I've got this jumper. Be the third one down. If the security system says it's alright. And power comes from that second fuse through the contacts on that relay and across the harness down to this neutral safety switch. Into a yellow wire, the yellow one, then it comes out the purple one and heads back to the starter to turn the starter over. It's got a 3100. I did have a general smell antifreeze under here, and I figure the intake gaskets are starting to get fuzzy, and has the old telltale resin tar looking stuff in the overflow, so they should be getting ready for some intake gaskets. But anyway, I put the test light on this, pulled the starter wire off, and I hooked the test light up to the starter wire and then to ground, and then I bypassed the crank relay with a 3 amp fuse to simulate that I was cranking the motor over. Just brought 12 volts off of this stud up here at the top of the box into this fuse and into what the computer would close the relay and supply power to this start wire down here through the neutral safety switch. And I just started pushing on the harness. This is a trouble spot here I've had before, that don't have no corrugated insulation on it. It's just black tape. And I've had these Buicks had that sharp metal edge wear through that harness and make the car turn over on its own by grounding the crank relay in this harness. That was interesting. But anyway, so I had that fuse on there, and that lit the test light up, and I started pushing around the harness, and I got over to the neutral safety switch and just pushed down sideways on the housing of it, and it blew the fuse. So I'm going to install a new neutral safety switch, and that'll solve that problem. First thing I want to do is take this air cleaner tube off, a couple flat screws, unplug a mass airflow sensor, just take that whole piece off, and then that screw there, and unplug that vent tube and air temperature sensor. Got a hole opened up to that switch. I hooked some wobblers up in an extension. I'm going to blast it with the air tool. I locked some vice grips onto the lever back there to help reinforce it so there ain't so much stress on the transmission linkage. Looks like an ice has been busy in here too. All that trash on the... I'm going to put this in the neutral position, because that's the way the switch is going to be installed. It came with a pin stuck in it to install it on neutral. I blocked the wheels beforehand so it's not rolling anywhere. and it is in neutral now. I'll pull these safety pins with any luck. A little bend in him now. Alright, the shifter is in neutral. So I can take this shifter arm up off of there. It's got two slots to line it back up. And I'm going to go ahead and plug these connectors. Hopefully that, evidently there's two different types of the smaller connector. But you have to change the harness for the other type. Need a 1/2 inch ratchet socket. I'm going to use a medium length deep well. Use whatever you can get on it, I reckon. Or 13mm, I guess. It has two screws fastening it down on each, like about a 45. Yeah, I had that fused light on there, and I pushed down on this box right there, and just pushed on it, not hard at all. Pow! Blew the fuse. And it isn't supposed to do that. That whole thing moves inside. But it's 14 years old. Two short 13mm headed bolts holding that down. This box should just lift right off of there. There it is. This is the new style. It's got two flaps sticking up in there. The old style didn't have it. This has the two new. This is the new switch. As long as these metal tabs are about in line with the bolt holes here. Just push it down, just kind of wiggle it and push it down on there. Back in there, I'm gonna look on the old one to see if them bolts are centered or they got offset slots to adjust that. In case you can't, you gotta check, make sure your reverse lights and it'll just start in park and neutral, not any other gear. By adjusting this piece. And it looks to me like it was pretty much centered where it is now, so I'll put these in there and snug the back one down. Import's 18 foot-pounds, I believe. Just kind of bring that one down a little bit. Bring this around and stick these plug-ins back in there. Okay, both connectors are seated. And I'll put this arm back on there. Just gently put this nut on there. Twist the nut down a little bit, make sure that's alright. So I'm going to check and make sure that neutral and park work. Reinstall the crank relay. Put a test light on the starter wire because I still got it off. Make it so I can watch it inside the car. It should light up in park and neutral. I'm not sure what to find a suitable place to down it again. Neutral, and here's the park. We've got reverse lights. Yes, reverse lights are on. It will not start in reverse. It will start in neutral. It will not turn over and drive or overdrive. It will not turn over in third, second. It's not turn over in second. It's not turn over in first, and it's all the way back to park. And it will turn over. And I've got backup lights, so it's positioned just right. I can live with that. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this other 13mm down. I'm going to take this shift arm nut back loose and put a little blue Loctite on it. It's pretty critical piece to not be coming loose. And all I have to do is tighten that down, put this back together. Anyway, you got the air cleaner off. Be ahead to go ahead and clean the throttle body. That one's pretty filthy. I doubt if it's ever been done. Even the vent hole is black. Yeah, it was pretty greasy in there. But that's about it. Torque that nut down on that shifter arm, and this will be ready to go home.